Bhavya, this entire OIC summit, that the Imran Khan government is saying that it's a huge success and that the nation should be proud. Before I proceed with the answer, here's a small clip that I'd like the viewers to see. This is Dr. Moeed Yusuf, the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He's their NSA, and this is what he has to say.
تمام قوم کو فخر ہونا چاہیے کہ پاکستان نے ایک اتنا بڑا سیشن ایکسٹراڈنری سیشن او آئی سی کا یہاں پہ منعقد کیا. یہ کوئی روزمرہ کی بات نہیں ہے, صرف 17 ایسے سیشن ہوئے ہیں آج تک او آئی سی کی تاریخ میں, اور اس میں پرائم منسٹر کی لیڈرشپ, فارن آفس کی لیڈ کام کرنے میں, اور تمام ہمارے جتنے ادارے تھے. اٹس ریئلی اے ٹیسٹمنٹ ٹو آر امپورٹنس. دنیا نے تسلیم کیا ہے کہ پاکستان کا ایک کلیدی کردار بھی ہے. پاکستان کی اسٹریٹجک امپورٹنس ویسے بھی ہم کئی دفعہ بہت سیلف کرٹیکل تو ہو جاتے ہیں, لیکن اپنی کامیابیوں کو, اپنی کوششوں کو بھی ہمیں اپریشیٹ کرنا چاہیے. اس سمٹ کا, اس سیشن کا فوکس تو تھا ہیومینیٹیرین اور اکنامک اسسٹنس, جو سب سے بڑی کامیابی ہے. کل میں یو این کے کچھ لوگوں کے ساتھ شام کو مل رہا تھا سیشن کے بعد, اور آج بھی میرے پاس اسپیشل ریپرزینٹیٹیو امریکہ کے آئے ہوئے تھے. وزیر اعظم صاحب کی کل ملاقاتیں ہوئیں فارن منسٹر سے. سب یہ بات تسلیم کر رہے تھے کہ سب سے بڑی جو خوبی تھی اس سیشن کی کہ ادھر کوئی مڈ سلنگنگ, کوئی فنگر پوائنٹنگ نہیں, بلکہ فوکس ساری دنیا کا ہر سپیکر نے آ کے ہیومینیٹیرین اور اکنامک سپورٹ اور اسسٹنس پہ کیا ہے. تو ابھی تک وسطی دنیا میں یہ جو باقی سارے پلیٹ فارمز تھے, وہاں تو بڑی مکسڈ قسم کی باتیں ہو رہی تھیں. کبھی ایک بات ہو جاتی تھی, کبھی نکتہ چینی ہو رہی تھی, کبھی کہہ دیا جاتا تھا لیکن آگے کوئی پروسیس کا رستہ نہیں نکلتا تھا کہ وہ فنڈ بنے گا, طریقہ کیسے ہوگا. اب ایک ہیومینیٹیرین فنڈ کا انعقاد بھی ہو گیا, اسلامک ڈیولپمنٹ بینک اوورسی بھی کرے گا, بہت سے ریسورسز بھی پلیج ہوئے, سعودی عرب نے بہت کلیدی کردار ادا کیا.
So viewers, you saw the clip of Dr. Moeed Yusuf saying that the nation should be proud, etc., etc. See, first of all, this entire thing was stage managed by Saudi Arabia. Pakistan, apart from spending a few dollars, borrowed dollars I may add, to host it, Pakistan has no role to play. Pakistan does not have the credibility to call all the Muslim nations to Pakistan. If Pakistan had the credibility, they would have called an OIC session on Kashmir. And that is why this is such a big flop, because Pakistan's foreign policy, Pakistan's domestic policy, has always revolved around Kashmir, Bhavya. It's only Kashmir, and that is what the Pakistani Prime Minister, whether it is Nawaz Sharif, whether it is, as head of state Asif Ali Zardari or Parvez Musharraf, these people, whenever they get a platform, United Nations or wherever they go in any other country, they must speak about Kashmir. It is something, it's like a report card that a child has to show his parents, that I mentioned Kashmir wherever I went. Similarly, when they go back to Pakistan from a foreign trip, they have to tell the people of Pakistan that, I mentioned Kashmir and I made a mention of Kashmir, and what a great Prime Minister I am. Similarly, in this entire OIC summit, Kashmir was something that Pakistan was very keen to mention, but Saudi Arabia told them on day one, listen, if you want funding for the summit, if you want the summit in Pakistan, you will have to get rid of the K word. It's not happening. And Pakistan got scared and they pulled out. And Pakistan got scared to such an extent that, the Taliban representatives who had come for the summit, nobody took photographs with them. This is the level of the insult that was heaped upon Pakistan and on the Taliban. The OIC members, like for example, the Emirates, there's Malaysia, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, the Islamic world, 57 countries, they refused to stand with the Taliban and get even a photograph clicked. In the end, what happened was 1 billion riyal, which is how much? Around 300 to 400 million US dollars, was committed by Saudi Arabia. It's a commitment. I don't know how it will play out. It could be deferred payment on oil. It could be cash. Will be difficult because Afghanistan does not have a banking system. It could be food grains. But nobody spoke about Bhavya recognizing the Taliban regime. Nobody spoke about that. Nobody spoke about giving huge amounts of money. Nobody spoke about anything. And Pakistan was banking upon this. کہ کہیں کسی صورت میں ہمیں بھی تھوڑے سے پیسے مل جائیں. That was Pakistan's hook all along. See, whether it's Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, even Iran for that matter, all these are Muslim countries, and all these countries have a land border with Afghanistan. So Pakistan's entire contention that if there is a civil war in Afghanistan, everybody will come to Pakistan. This is synthetically manufactured. It has happened in the past. I'm not saying it's not happened. 4 to 5 million Afghan refugees were in Pakistan ever since the 80s, the first so-called Afghan jihad. Many of them landed up in Karachi, outskirts of Peshawar, Lahore, all over Pakistan. Okay, that part is true. But why it happened was that Pakistan was the one that started interfering in Afghanistan. You know, this whole narrative that Pakistan always tries to give out. They're very fond of playing the victim card, the Pakistanis. So they'll always say that, we fed 5 million Afghans. But I would like to ask the Pakistanis, why in God's name did the Afghans come to Pakistan? Why didn't they go to Iran or Tajikistan or Uzbekistan or all the countries nearby? Because it was Pakistan that was responsible. Pakistan trained the Taliban. Pakistan gave birth to the Taliban. It was Pakistan who took money. In the early 80s, they took money from the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and they funded the Mujahideen who fought against Soviet occupation. It was Pakistan who looked at Afghanistan as its fifth state, so to say. Panchwa Suba. And it was Pakistan who started interfering. No other country has interfered in Afghanistan except for Pakistan. And Pakistan is reaping the results of that interference, of that whole flawed concept of strategic depth. And this is why Pakistan takes so much of interest. Also, because Afghanistan is Bhavya, a landlocked country. You see, if the Western world wants to send aid to Afghanistan, how does it send aid? It has to send it by sea. And Pakistan has a seaport. Afghanistan is landlocked. Tajikistan does not have a seaport. Uzbekistan does not have a seaport. The Chinese seaports are very far away. Should China want to send, the logical, though China can send it, through the Wakhan corridor. That is one part. China can do it if China wishes, but China has not done anything so far. Iran is another country which has direct access to Central Asia. Iran is another country that has a huge land border with Afghanistan. But the problem is that Iran is under sanctions, right? And Iran is not a viable route today, which is what Pakistan takes advantage of. Its geostrategic location, that we have a seaport, we have direct access to Afghanistan and Central Asia. And this is Pakistan's entire play. Pakistan has nothing positive to add. Come to think of it, Bhavya, Pakistan has not even recognized the Taliban. Every day Imran Khan is on some platform or the other saying that recognize the Taliban, give Taliban money, give the Afghans money, recognize the Taliban regime. He has said it everywhere, including the United Nations. My only question to Pakistanis is, if you want the Taliban to be recognized, why haven't you done it yourself? Why doesn't Pakistan take the first step and say that, okay, we are the first country to recognize the Taliban? It will not do it. Because Pakistan will always follow the dollar. That is all Pakistan has done in the past, and that is all Pakistan will do in the present and also in the future. They will follow the dollar. They might abuse America in all their talks. They might abuse America, call it the great Satan on television. But in the end, it is towards America that Pakistan looks whenever it wants dollars, and it will never upset America. Rhetoric aside, in practical terms, Pakistan will never dare upset America. No, absolutely. I think it is a failure of the Imran Khan government, because Kashmir, as I mentioned before also, Kashmir is one of the reasons for Pakistan's existence. I mean, they've been taught, their kids have been taught right from the day a child is old enough to understand what his surroundings are. He's been told that Kashmir Pakistan ki shahrag hai and Pakistan cannot survive without Kashmir, etc., etc. So this is something that, you see, Pakistan has no diplomatic heft. They might praise themselves in their own television programs, and they might get their old generals to their TV programs and old diplomats, retired diplomats, to their programs and say, oh, Pakistan is very important because it's a nuclear weapon state. So what? So what? Nuclear weapons cannot give food to your people. Nuclear weapons cannot give you economic security. Nuclear weapons. In the Karachi unofficial markets, which are not going by the government rates, the unofficial markets of Karachi, where money exchanges are done, let's call it the black market. The rupee to the dollar is already trading at 195. I'm not talking about the official. Not the official is around 178, 179. But unofficially it has crossed 195. So where are your nuclear weapons now? So this entire fraud has been perpetrated by Pakistan, that we are so important and this is what we wish to do. And this is how the world is not interested in Pakistan's rhetoric. Because Pakistan brings nothing to the table actually. And Bhavya, there is another thing here. And I don't mean to be very aggressive as far as Pakistan is concerned, but the fact of the matter is that Pakistan has nothing to give to the world. I mentioned it in the past and I'll mention it again. What has happened is that Pakistan goes to a country and says, please mention Kashmir. Let's say it goes to a European country and says, please mention Kashmir. And the European country says, okay, we'll do that. We'll mention Kashmir and how, the Indians have quote unquote occupied Kashmir and, why there is a lot of problem in Kashmir, etc. So we'll do that. What are you going to do for us? And Pakistan says we can do absolutely nothing for anybody. We are hardly in a position to do anything for ourselves. Forget about you, a third country. Impossible. So this is Pakistan's diplomacy, begging and begging, even for a statement, begging for a statement, begging for money, begging for credibility. This is where I think Pakistan is going wrong, and this entire OIC summit is sponsored by Saudi Arabia. Had Saudi Arabia not stepped in, Pakistan would not have been able to call an OIC summit on its own, because, they would have. People are calling it already on social media. It's being called the Katora Conference, because obviously this was something that Pakistan wanted to do to ensure that they got funds. It was for begging for cash, because as I mentioned, Afghanistan is a landlocked country. So what happens? What happens is this, right? People send funds to Afghanistan. People send food grains to Afghanistan. They send it through Pakistan. Pakistan gets a cut. And that's all that Pakistan wants. They want a small cut. They want 10% or 20% of every transaction. Otherwise, Pakistan today has no interest in Afghanistan except for those 10 or 20%. Absolutely. I think this OIC summit was a strategic blunder by the Pakistanis, simply because the OIC is not the United Nations. If Saudi Arabia wanted to send 1 billion riyal, which is around $350 million, they would have just sent it. They don't need Pakistan to send money to Afghanistan, right? Also, in the end, all that came out was that, okay, OIC will now set up a body of people or countries that will approach the United Nations and take this case to the United Nations. So, did they mention Kashmir? No. Did they forget about anything else? Did they even mention the fact that they wanted to recognize the Taliban regime? Nobody spoke about recognition. Nobody spoke about anything at all. And the Central Asian republics, 5 of them, their foreign ministers were sitting in India, and they sent their number 2 to Pakistan. The foreign ministers actually were sitting in India with Dr. Jaishankar, our external affairs minister. So they were formulating Afghanistan policy along with Dr. Jaishankar. I don't know what people are doing in Pakistan. So they went there for courtesy's sake. No big name came there. They were all number 2s and number 3s who landed up in Pakistan. And they took no decision, except for the fact that some money would be given to Afghanistan. That's it. There was no talk on recognition. There was no talk on Kashmir. There was a mention about Palestine. And now Pakistanis are upset. If you can mention Palestine, why can't you mention Kashmir? But the fact of the matter is nobody is interested in Kashmir. And this is something that Pakistanis know. Their media knows. Their TV anchors know. Their diplomats know. Everybody knows. But, you have been riding a tiger. There's a tiger called Kashmir. You've been riding the Kashmir tiger for so long. You can't get off the tiger. The tiger will eat you. So what do you tell the people of Pakistan? That suddenly we have lost interest in Kashmir? They have lost Kashmir forever. And they're going to lose Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan very soon. And they know that. So they are absolutely desperate now. This is a desperation, right? Their embassies, recently the embassy in Argentina, it put out an Instagram post against his own government. It had Imran Khan's photograph and it said that, implied that the government should change because we are losing credibility, we're losing deals, we're losing so many other things. It happened earlier in Serbia, I think, where their embassy said that we have not been paid for 3 months. So this is what is happening in Pakistan. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, this organization has a Kashmir committee, and Turkey, Tayyip Erdogan, the president of Turkey, is the chairman of this Kashmir, so-called Kashmir committee in OIC, and even he could not get a statement on Kashmir. So that is number one. And Pakistanis do understand that there were diplomatic pressures, but at the same time, when this OIC meeting in Islamabad was going on, news flashed across the world that Turkey had actually sold 100 drones to India. And obviously, these drones would be used against Pakistan and China. And the Pakistanis are calling it the great betrayal because they assumed Pakistan runs on assumptions, Bhavya. You must understand that Pakistan runs on assumptions. They assume that just because Turkey is a Muslim country, they are with Pakistan. They don't understand that, you see, the opposite could also be true. So, are they saying that Turkey is a Muslim country and therefore Turkey is with Pakistan, which means that America is a non-Muslim country and it is against Pakistan? That's not true. Or UK is a non-Muslim country and hence it should be against Pakistan. That's not how the world works. But Pakistan has tunnel vision. It has a very narrow concept. It is a very narrow worldview, or the way it looks at the world is a very, very restricted vision. The Islamic world and the non-Islamic world. This whole concept is, more than 1,000 years old, right? And it's outdated, but Pakistan refuses to let it go. And this entire feeling of betrayal in Pakistan, hame dhoka de diya Turkey ne. Turkey will look out for his national interests. Turkey does not owe Pakistan anything, right? It's Pakistan that falls in love with every second country. They fall in love with Iran, they fall in love with China, they fall in love with America, they've fallen in love with Malaysia, with Indonesia, recently with Turkey. And what did they get in return? They got a TV drama called Ertugrul Ghazi or something like that. Some name which I don't remember. They got a TV drama and Imran Khan was so, happy with this drama, ecstatic absolutely, that he told the people of Pakistan that, do you want to learn Islamic history? If you want to learn Islamic history, watch this television drama. That was the level of support for the television drama. Pakistan gave lots of money to Turkey. They bought this television drama from Turkey. And then everybody in Pakistan was made to watch it. And everybody was ecstatic and people were dressing up their kids as Ertugrul Ghazi on horses and swords and all that nonsense. And that is all that Turkey could give Pakistan, a television drama. The drones it gave to India, because India has money, Pakistan has no money. And this is something that Pakistan does not realize. They believe that, I think they're the only Muslim country in the world that believes in the concept of Ummah, because nobody else seems to.